Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you joined us for the second day of our Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. The next presentation of the day is from DLP Resources. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for a one-on-one meeting by clicking Book a Meeting. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Ian Gendel, Chief Executive Officer and President of DLP Resources, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol DLPRF and on the TSXV under the symbol DLP. Welcome back, Ian.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Today's talk will be discovering copper molybdenum porphyry giants in southern Peru. We have our flagship project, the Aurora project, which is advancing towards preliminary economic assessment, and a grassroots project called Esperanza, which is moving into a new phase of exploration. So before we start, just some forward-looking statements, which I may make during this presentation, highlighted here. So the DLP team, we're a small team. I'm CEO and President of DLP Resources. Bill Bennett, Chairman, Scott Davis, CFO, Robin Sudo, our Office and Land Manager. And my experience, I'm a geologist by profession. I've had over 35 years experience working for major companies, including Genco, Billiton, Anglo American, Antofagasta, OceanaGold, and I was responsible for discoveries in southern part of Ecuador, and some of the names you may know. Warintza being one, which has been developed by Solaris. Other ones called Mirador, which is in production by CRC Tongguan, and those projects were discovered in the mid-90s by the company Genco, Billiton, and I was leading the exploration at that time. So the Aurora project is in southern Peru, as I mentioned. It's located approximately 60 kilometers north of Cusco. It's accessed by paved and unpaved roads to the project. We have 12,500 hectares. 400 hectares is the main target in which we've been working over the past three years, and that's under option. There's power to the property to the edge of the village of Parabamba, and the elevation is between 2,000 and 3,000 meters. So this is a copper, molybdenum, silver project that we have there. So giving you a bit of an idea of the history of the project, in 2001 and 2005, the project was looked at by Bay Creek and Venner Resources. Some shallow drilling was done on the project in 12 holes at that time. Average depths varied between 250 and 340 meters. Essentially, at that time, they were looking for copper oxides, and after 2005, little was done until Focus Ventures picked up the property in 2013-14. I visited in 2015, realized the potential for deep drilling on the project, and couldn't do anything on the project at that time as it was held by Focus Ventures. They had an option with Dawu. Dawu in the process of getting their permit to do a drill program on the property. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and in 2015, the project went back to the owners. Fast forward, I went back to the property in 2021, did a deal with the owner on the property, and we started drilling in 2022. From 2022 to December of 2025, we've drilled just over 22,000 meters of drilling in 27 drill holes, and we're progressing now towards preliminary economic assessment, which we're hoping to be out by the end of March of this year. So the property is within the community of a village called Parabamba. We have an excellent relationship with the community. We've worked hard with the community in varying degrees in terms of employment. We've spent a lot of time on improving access roads for them, helping with the schools, and a lot of sports facilities and medical facilities as well. We spent to date over $1 million in various projects and initiatives with the community. So we have very strong support from them in moving this project forward. So as I said earlier, we're in southern part of Peru. We are located north of the Las Bambas porphyry copper deposit held by MMG. The current resource that's out on Aurora is 1.05 billion tons of inferred resource at 0.44% copper equivalent, and equates to approximately 10 billion pounds of copper equivalent, which is copper, molybdenum, and silver. We have 80 million ounces of silver identified on the project to date. We've had really good recoveries from the early metallurgical work that was done in 2024 and 25 on the project. Additional work is currently has been done now on the next phase of the metallurgical study, and that will come out in the PEA. All holes drilled on this project to date have ended in very high-grade molybdenum mineralization. This is probably one of the highest grade molybdenum deposits in the world today, and within South America, this is relatively unknown in terms of having both copper and molybdenum as primary products. So infrastructure around Aurora, we have road access to a rail terminal to the south. There's a possibility of putting in a pipeline to take concentrate to that same rail terminal, which will exit to the southern part of that area at the coast, at the port of Matarani, and that rail line that leads to the coast is fed by concentrate from those mines that I mentioned in the previous slide, which is Las Bambas, Constancia, in that area. So we have really good infrastructure in and around Aurora to the coast. So the plan of the project, plan of the drilling that's been done to date, we've, as I said, we completed 27 drill holes for just over 22,000 meters of drilling. In June of last year, we raised 5.5 million US to complete the program, which included additional drilling that we did, and to take us through to the end of the PEA. So that drilling was done as expansions and infills in this area. This is about 1.5 kilometers by about 1.1 kilometers in width across this. The trend is to the northwest, to the southeast. The last hole we drilled was to the southeast, hole 27, and it's still open in all directions. We haven't closed off the areas both to the northwest, southeast, to the southwest, and to the northeast. So the inferred resource that came out in February, March of last year, as I said, is just over 1 billion tons, 0.44% copper equivalent, and associated with that is 4.6 billion pounds of copper, 1.1 billion pounds of molybdenum, and 80 million ounces of silver. This deposit sits in a mountain that has a very good exposure from about 3,000 meters all the way down to about 2,000 meters. It's easily extractable as an open pit through the deposit, and what we've seen at the lower end, roughly at about 600 meter depth, we get into very high grade molybdenum, and that extends to the bottom of the pit that's currently shown there, and extends further. We're still we're still in very good mineralization at the end of the holes that have been drilled. This is another view of the deposit with the drill hole shown, and these extensions of the drill holes beyond the pit. Then more recent drilling show the mineralization, particularly molybdenum, extending to depth well below the pit. So we're looking at about, this is just for scale, the CN Tower, we're looking at about over 1.2 kilometers of mineralization through this deposit. This is another view of the geological model that we have. We have a copper porphyry, a molybdenum porphyry, very, very close in timing. They are of Miocene age. We have some breccias associated with these porphyries, and they've all been placed into sediments, which are now hornfelts. And we sit with mineralization within the porphyries and within the surrounding hornfelts and breccias as well. The deeper porphyry, as I said, was intercepted in the deeper parts of the hole, and we still don't know how further this mineralization extends to. So just another view of the topography and the deposit shown in this slide. As mentioned, the strip ratio, if this ever gets to mine development, is very low. It's less than 1:1. And the favorable part for us is that we have an elevation from 3,000 to 2,000 meters. That's the deposit sits in, and easily accessible from surface. So the next steps for us are, as I said, to get the PEA out in the first quarter of this year. We need to initiate an additional permitting process for further drilling on the project to move it into pre-feasibility and feasibility stage, and we'd also be looking for a strategic partner to take this project forward. To give you an idea of where Aurora sits in relation to some of the other copper molybdenum deposits in the world today, Aurora sits with in a position with both copper and molybdenum. As I said, we're looking at very high grades of molybdenum at Aurora, and about 500,000 tons of molybdenum associated with it, and we're sitting with very good copper in terms of tonnage, and we have about 50% molybdenum and 50% copper associated with this deposit. So we believe that this deposit has grades that are very similar to what we've seen at Climax, of between 0.1 and 0.3% molybdenum. So where are we on the evaluation curve for DLP in terms of the projects and of the project we have? We believe we completely undervalued at this point. We're currently trading at less than $0.007 dollars on the pound of copper equivalent in Aurora, and we're in the lower part of the curve, hopefully moving and de-risking as we progress through this year to the PEA, and we hope to be moving up this curve in terms of valuation as we get that PEA out in this quarter. Giving you some indication of the molybdenum supply in and around South America. Peru is one of the bigger producers of molybdenum, essentially as byproducts from the copper mines. And here's the slide showing some of the production of molybdenum that's coming out of Peru. The reserves are about 1.9 million tons currently in Peru, and if Aurora comes into production, we'll produce a significant amount of molybdenum to add to that reserve in Peru at some point. Peru as a mining country is well placed in terms of copper and other products as well. It's the third biggest producer of copper, and just fallen below Congo over the past 2 years. So Peru is a mining country with a strong support for mining, and we have strong confidence in the projects like Aurora and the other one, Esperanza, moving forward with support from the government. So moving on to the other project which we have called Esperanza. Esperanza is located closer to the coast. It's less than 36 kilometers southeast of the Cerro Verde mine in Arequipa, which is one of the bigger copper mines in the world. It was found by boost on the ground exploration by us. It's adjacent to an operating mine called Chapi Mine, and we currently have 8,600 hectares on the Esperanza block. We've completed early geochemical program of rock sampling in 2024 over the project, and we identified both copper and molybdenum anomalies from that program. We followed this up in late last year with a drone magnetic survey, and from that survey we've had excellent results that confirm a porphyry copper system that sits within the mapped alteration geochemical anomaly that we have from the groundwork. So this is very exciting for us. We believe that there's a system sitting there that needs to get drill tested, and we're currently working on a trenching program as I speak, and moving towards getting the project permitted for a phase of drilling in the mid to later part of this year. So the project, as I said, is located in the southern part of Peru. It's about 72 kilometers southeast of Arequipa, accessed with paved and unpaved roads. It's less than 10 kilometers from the power grid. This is 100% DLP owned, 8,600 hectares. And the target is the porphyry copper moly system that we believe is sitting under the volcanics that are there. And it's been confirmed with rock geochem, and we have a coincident magnetic and alteration anomaly associated with that. So when we look at the regional geology, this sits on this famous Incapuquio fault system, where we find the majority of the major copper deposits in Peru coming in from Chile into southern part of Peru. And we have Cerro Verde sitting up here in the northwest, and we're 35 kilometers to the southeast of the Cerro Verde mine, and within a belt of porphyry copper deposits that are of some of the biggest in the world. So from surface, we see copper oxides in an agglomerate. We have indications of porphyry veining, the so-called D veins that are characteristic of porphyry systems, and we expect to have a hidden porphyry below some of the shallow volcanics that outcrop over this area. So this is once again just showing the position of Esperanza, the block that we have, in relation to some of the bigger copper deposits on either side of the project. So this is the mag anomaly. As I said, this mag anomaly is overlain with an alteration map of serosite that we can see mapped on surface, and also from imagery that we've got the data from. And this fits in very well with a donut-shaped system of low magnetics with a higher magnetic anomaly sitting in the central part that fits in very well with the molybdenum anomaly and the copper anomaly on the outside. This is just a simple map showing the rock samples that were taken in 2024 through the area. We had some very high grade copper showings with anomalies in this sector. That's over about 1.2 kilometers from the sampling that we've done, and we have the system of molybdenum that sits more or less in this zone, also together with some copper anomalies as well. That's the moly anomaly sitting mainly in this area. This is the interpreted section. We have these porphyry stocks, which we can just see some of them poking their noses out through the volcanics, and overlain by some colluvium on surface. And this is an area of about 6 kilometers that we can see the alteration pattern associated with that magnetic anomaly. And we believe we have some shallow drilling that can intercept the porphyries in this area. So this is the focus for us, and this is what we're working towards getting to permitting stage in June, July of this year. That's a view of the area. Some hydrothermal breccias within this area shown here. These altered dacites that we can see in outcrop covered by colluvium, and some really interesting breccias, tourmaline breccias, hydrothermal breccias that we can see on surface. Also with the characteristic porphyry veining D-type veins that we see poking out from some of the subcrops in the area. This is just another view of the breccias that we can see, both tourmaline full breccias, class with veins in them, and class with veins and cross-cutting veins through it as well, which indicate a porphyry system at depth. So the capital structure of DLP currently, we're sitting with 153.5 million shares out, fully diluted at 215 million. Our market cap is currently between 56 and 61 million. As I said, I think we're really undervalued at this point. So that's all I have. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. If there are any questions, I can take them now.
And Ian, are you able to see the questions in the Q&A panel?
I don't see any questions right now.
You've got quite a few really good ones. So if you want to move that Q&A panel to the main stage, that might help you see them.
Got the main stage here now. Okay, here we go. Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Okay. First question is, why the delay in the PA given past dates given? the delay in the PEA is related to some of the optimization which we're currently looking at with the engineering group GRE. So there's from the time we said that the PEA would be out to now, there's still some additional work that needs to get done on the optimization to get the best PEA. So that's the reason for the delay. Got a question. Industry reports point to continued growth in steel demand and structural high moly consumption into 2030. At the same time, the permitting and development lead times are getting longer. How do you intend to compress your own technical and permitting timelines so Aurora can be construction ready into the forecasted supply gap rather than just after it? Well, I think we're doing our best to get to the point where we can move this project forward. Developing any project and getting it through to feasibility takes time. But I think in the longer term, moving into 2030 and beyond, 2035, there are reports that there'll be a decline in molybdenum as we move forward into that period. So I think the timing for any development of Aurora will be perfect for the decline in the moly, particularly as all the copper projects start producing less molybdenum as byproduct, and I think that'll be positive for us. How much bigger could Aurora realistically get with more drilling? That's one. I think we open at least 200 to 300 meters on either side, both to the northwest, to the southeast, to the southwest, and to the northeast. So I think considerably we could maybe get close to 1.5 to 2 billion 2 billion tons on that, but that requires a lot more drilling and a lot more infill drilling to take it to that level. Okay, so given Peru's rapid growth in moly output and the concentration of high rhenium copper moly circuits in the region, do you see an opportunity for Aurora concentrate to attract premium offtake terms or strategic interest from smelters looking to secure long-term moly units? I think there's a combination of factors here that we'll be looking at. I think there's an option to be premium, a primary moly producer, and I think there's interest from others on projects like this, and obviously steel makers in Europe to secure long-term contracts for molybdenum as well. That's another avenue that has to be explored. Okay, so I'll just get one more here. For a shareholder today, what are the most realistic exit paths you see over the next cycle? Saying standalone build, partial slowdown, or full takeover? What timeline if things go to plan? I think that's always difficult to predict as to what's going to happen. I think an important part for us is to get the PE out to give us a baseline as to the economics of the deposit. And following that, I think this deposit's definitely of strategic size for majors to consider. And I think with the two products, both copper, molybdenum, and of course silver, 80 million ounces of silver in today's prices is pretty significant. So I think this is the project that the timeline in terms of whether it's a takeover or a project where a big company invests over the next few years to get it to feasibility and beyond. Is options that are on the table for us. and we'll just have to see what comes from that in 2026. You raised 5.5 million in June, and now have 153 million basic and 215 million fully diluted shares out, with 61 million market cap. How do you balance further drilling and de-risking versus dilution over the next 12 to 24 months? Obviously, dilution is a big factor for junior companies. We don't really want to do additional drilling because the next phase of drilling will probably be in the order between $30 and $50 million. So looking for a strategic partner to move the project forward with us would be something of importance for us, rather than going back to the market and diluting for another big drill program. I think I'm running out of time in terms of the present for the questions here. So if anyone wants to have a meeting beyond this, they can always log in, and I have some time tomorrow to answer some of these. But otherwise, I could try and get back to you later on some of these questions that I see are still on the screen.
Perfect. So if you just want to wrap up, and we'll end things and send everyone on their way.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your time. And if you want to contact me, you can always send me an email, and I'll be happy to answer further questions. Thank you very much. Have a good day.